Hey everyone, Dallas Goldbug here. I wanted to make this short video to show you something that I found today while I was working on a different production. That other production I'm going to be releasing soon. It's going to be a review of the X-Plan document. And that, if you don't know what it is, it's the document that I leaked from Homeland Security while I was on Joyce Riley's The Power Hour show a few years ago. That document is still relevant today, and it's a 41-page review of how they produce these drills, school shooting drills in particular, active shooter drills. In those 41 pages, it outlines everybody's role in those events, gives you their job description and what they're supposed to do. It also shows you the procedures that they use for handling the press, the hot wash as they call it. So I'm going to show page by page that document and show you how it correlates to a real-world event that the news media says is real, but you'll be able to tell that it's fake just because of this document. So it'll be a tool that you'll be able to use from now on to validate what you're seeing on TV. So the history about that document, when I leaked it, it has a date on the front cover. It was for a school shooting that was upcoming in 2 weeks. I sat on this thing for a little while because I was afraid to release it. I didn't know if it was real or not. I had no way to validate it, even though it looked official. It had internal use only on it. It was pretty official looking, and it was very well detailed. It also had the sheriff's signatures and the official signatures in the back of this document as well. So I took a chance and I released it. The day after I went on the radio and did this, the parents of this school went to the super and they questioned them about this drill. This is documented in a Fox News report, which is pretty ironic that they would cover that. Well, anyway, the super said that he wasn't aware of that X-Plan document. He was aware of a drill being scheduled, but he was not aware of how extensive this thing was and what it's pretty incredible. When we go page by page, you're gonna like it. So the next day after that, Homeland Security called off the drill. So by their actions alone, they validated that document as legitimate. So we can use that, we can trust the information that's in it, and use it to out their little game. But here's what happened while I was working on this that I find really interesting. I had to go to Homeland Security's website to download the forms and different templates that they have available to you. The program that the school shootings and this active shooter scenario falls under is called the HSEEP program. That's Homeland Security's Emergency Evaluation Program. They give grants to places that host these domestic terrorist drills. The school shootings, the airports, the malls, the theaters, all get grant money. That's why you see them all remodel after the school shooting or after the shooting. As I'm downloading these PDFs and Word documents, I have to turn them into image files so I can put them in the video. I'm looking at the properties of the first one that comes over, and I notice something. Here it is. Notice anything particular when it comes to that name down the bottom, the person that created it? Oh yeah, James Tracy. James Tracy. James Tracy is the Florida State University professor who was fired for talking about Sandy Hook and how it was a hoax. Sandy Hook, hoax. DHS employee talking about it. Not just any DHS employee. A DHS employee that works for the HSEEP program on the support team. Now, the other thing that I want to show you are some clips of James talking to Paul Joseph Watson of Prison Planet, Alex Jones's deal. When I first saw James, like I said, I thought he was fake. I said, he's fake. I can just see it. I can feel it. Just look at the way he talks. Look at it. Feels scripted to me. Now, I know the argument is, he's been doing the lecture circuit and you get used to saying the same things. I understand that. I've done hundreds and hundreds of radio shows over the past 8 years. Been a guest on so many, I can't even remember them all. But even though, and I don't work from a script, I just talk. I don't need a script because I know the stuff I'm talking about. Even though you do sort of say sometimes the same phrases, you'll have little catchphrases that you'll use, which are your go-to phrase, whatnot. But even so, when I say it, I mean it. and you can see it. I'm not scripted out. I'm talking directly to the camera. So I have nothing to read. I have nothing to look at notes. I'm just thinking about what I'm talking about. When you look at him, you can tell there's a very, I don't know how to put it. It's something that you just have to tune your eyes to. You can see it's not coming from his mind. It's coming from a script that he's been practicing. So I want you to watch this little clip here and get a feeling for James Tracy and let him know that you know he's working for Homeland Security. And when was he thinking about telling us?
And his website is memoryholeblog.com. Professor, welcome to the show.
It's great to be here, Paul. Thank you.
That is what I call the actor's goofy face. Depending upon the skill level of the actor, they're trying to make a face that's not their natural face. Go to the bathroom, look in a mirror, and try to make a face that's not your normal face and make it believable looking. That you could walk up to somebody in the street and they would think that that is the way you looked. If you have skills, you might be able to pull it off. Obviously, he doesn't have skills because he looks like an idiot. This next section you're going to hear, though, this is real important. Since he works for DHS, HSEEP program, we know that the X-Plan document that I released is the document that they use for the drills. So, he's going to talk about drills.
The Crisis Actors is a group based out of Denver, Colorado, I believe, and they work in association with the Department of Homeland Security.
Who's your daddy? Say that again.
In association with the Department of Homeland Security on active shooter drills. So they are involved in playing the roles of bystanders, of perhaps the shooter himself, the victims in some cases, the individuals involved in posting things to social media.
I wonder if I can sue them for harassment, since Desi Arnaz Jr. has been harassing me on all my YouTube channels and everywhere else for the past 2-3 years now. His whole entire family's been harassing me, come to think of it. Huh. In fact, he's the one that was at the Dallas gun rally, standing in front of Janet Napolitano. This guy's been following me around, harassing me. And he's Lucille Ball's son. What a dick.
In other words, they are all-encompassing in creating an environment for a lifelike drill. But these individuals they're deployed within the community, and they go ahead and they embellish.
Deployed in the community, just like he is, and they embellish. Go figure.
The particular event. So if this were a drill that somehow went live, as we know that, for example, 9/11 and the 7/7/05 bombings were.
Quick side note, he mentioned 9/11. John Aston, who you'll see coming up here, and his sons, Mackenzie and Sean, along with the entire family, are the crisis actors that he's talking about. They are involved in Columbine and Sandy Hook. But John Aston's father was the director of the National Institutes of Standards and Technology, the NIST company that did the testing for 9/11. That was complete sham. So this family has been doing this for quite a long time and is going to keep on doing it because they keep on passing that baton down to the next generation.
Then it would have involved actors along these lines, and they would not even know whether or not the drill itself went live. One of the things that...
This is where it gets interesting. They're going to take a shot at me here, and rightly so. I was wrong about this, but I went back and we did figure out who it was, but I said Robbie Parker was Tony Hawk. That was wrong. Robbie Parker is actually Mackenzie Aston. Now, the children of Robbie Parker are Mackenzie's brother's kids, Sean Aston's kids.
Are detracting from any real understanding of what happened. Because I've seen some really just crazy things, like Robbie Parker, one of the parents, is actually Tony Hawk, the skateboard guy. So there's a lot of people poisoning the well with bizarre craziness, and it's really not helping us understand what actually happened, is it?
So thanks to these guys and their little jab at me, it made me go back and look at the Robbie Parker character. Once I did, I figured out who they exactly were. Robbie Parker is Mackenzie Aston. Now, Mackenzie Aston is a big anti-gun fanatic, and this would go in line with why he's taking part in all these drills. The children of Robbie Parker are his brothers, Sean Aston's. We'll go into that later on. You can also go to my website, wellaware1.com, and you can search for these individuals, and you'll see the Desilu Effect DVD. You can see the entire family tree that I'm showing you right now in detail and see all the events that these individuals are all linked to. It's the same family members passing the baton down to their kids, and then those kids play the role in the next big event. And for those of you that are still saying that I have something to do with Alex Jones when I've exposed him so many times, he is a royal, and many of his staff members are royals as well. Here's one right here. Alright, let me give you a little breakdown on DHS at this point. If you remember back when I was on Joyce Riley's show, I exposed E. Stewart Rhodes, who was the founder of Oath Keepers. E. Stewart Rhodes. He, the steward of Rhodes. He is Todd Kyle from DHS, and his title is Assistant Secretary of the Domestic Infrastructure. He is the steward of Rhodes. Get it? They play these name games right in front of us and people don't catch it. So when I outed him, he was on Joyce's show and he threatened he was going to punch me if I came to one of his rallies, which I said, bring it home, bitch. I was all about ready to do it. I told him, I said, hey, if you want to take it in the ring, we can. He, of course, backed down, didn't say a damn thing back to me. So there's one DHS incident I had. So when I went to the Supreme Court with my gun case, right while they were trying to decide the verdict, there was about a 3-month window. During that time, all of a sudden a gun rally pops up about 2 miles away from my house. I was invited to it. So I go, okay, fine, I'll go down there and check it out. So when I get there, I have it all documented. I took a couple people with me. And as I get there, I'm noticing people that look really familiar to me. Well, of course, I can't really tell who they are while I'm there because it's very difficult when you're looking through the camera. But when I get back home, I can see, of course, on the screen, the video that I shot. And there's Janet Napolitano standing right behind Desi Arnaz Jr., who, remember, Desi Arnaz, the Arnaz family, part of Columbine and Sandy Hook, standing right there in the front row behind the speaker. But Janet Napolitano is right behind him, the former director of Homeland Security. So this current director of Homeland Security, we outed her too. So it makes you realize why Homeland Security came after me and took my truck, arrested me up in Michigan, tried to throw me under the bus for 20 years, but it didn't work. I walked out with a $150 fine and a misdemeanor. Come on now. You go from a 20-year sentence with a gun charge to a $150 fine? Yeah, it's because they didn't have anything on me. But they took my truck, they took my property, they took everything I had in the truck. So, Homeland Security, whatever. Bite me.
Well, I've seen a lot of activity on my blog as well, the comments and things of the like, and I think that there is definitely a program to sow misinformation in the stream of information in order to muddy the waters.
Spoken like a DHS agent, right there, right from the horse's mouth.
And in the process, discredit the research, really the research that independent researchers and the like are putting together, and alternative media. Because if you can discredit it or muddy the waters to a limited degree in one area, you can paint with a fairly broad brush. The mainstream corporate media can do that.
Yeah, they sure can. Here's the New York Times piece that they did on me. It was a character assassination shot. The guy, Mark Lacey, that wrote it, didn't even call me up, didn't even give me a shot at it, didn't even ask me a question. So I found out about it after the fact. They printed it. And if you notice, Cat Scar on it, he's the number 2 man in Pima, the Pima County Sheriff. He gave this information to the FBI and wanted them to investigate me. And the FBI declined to answer that, but they said they're aware of my site, which is pretty funny. But the idiot that was going around in Pima County, handing out my business card to these people and saying that he represented me, which he didn't, is the same guy that Princess Stephanie tried to get me to let him investigate with us on the Giffords event in Arizona, Lee Bracker. He also plays a role in the Sandy Hook event, and he plays the governor of Connecticut. You can watch the video on my YouTube channel called When Royals Attack, and you'll see all about Lee and Princess Stephanie and the Giffords investigation that we did.
With regard to that, and it's somewhat one has to be careful.
So, by definition, Homeland Security says the use of force or threat of force to push political or social agenda is the act of terrorism. Getting fired and getting sued by the college or suing them, it's a threat. If you don't follow through with that lawsuit, that person that you're threatening, they can sue you if you don't follow through, as their loss of time and money that they put into it to try to find out if they need to protect themselves, a lawyer. So James Tracy, when he first came out to the media with his situation at the school, I said he was fake. I knew he was fake. Everybody jumped my shit for it. Oh, I was in his class. He taught me. He was my professor. Yep, probably was. But as we see here, he was an employee of DHS at the time. Doesn't mean he couldn't be a professor. So for that year, he was establishing his character at that school, shaking hands, going out for drinks after work. Everyone that works with him would swear that he is a legitimate professor and he's not anything else. He's not an actor. That's how they do it. So, Homeland Security is trying to push agenda. They're trying to make you think that if you open your mouth and you speak your mind, you will probably be fired or sued or whatever. They're trying to attack your First Amendment rights. And this is an interesting thing when it comes to government agencies or agencies that are designed to protect the people, like the police force, things like that. If the police did their jobs, and let's say they did it really well, each year you would see crime statistics go down. So their budgets wouldn't be as high as they normally are, correct? No. They have to become valid to the people. You need to look at the people that are protecting as the people that are producing these scams, because they need to stay relevant. They have to. So Homeland Security, with the DHS HSEEP program, giving grants to schools, to malls, to airports, to host domestic shooting scenarios that the media then takes, puts it on TV, and says it's real. Therefore, Homeland Security is securing their position. They're valid as far as the people see, because they need them. We need them to protect us. It's a scam. The whole thing is a scam. You got the FBI. You have all these other agencies that cross over paths lots of times. But you have local law enforcement. You don't need the Department of Homeland Security. It's redundant. You don't need it. Didn't need it. Never needed it. It's just taking up your tax money. So I think we need to address the fact that they're the ones causing these drills, these hoax, these school shootings, in order to keep themselves relevant, but also to pass gun legislation and to curb your freedom of speech. They are a terrorist organization, and I'm saying that straight to their face right now. You are a terrorist organization that needs to be stopped. You do nothing good for this country. You are the ones that are causing all the fear. You are fear-mongering. You are pushing agenda socially and politically with your campaigns of fear. You are terrorists, and I hope that the people take this serious and they go and they prosecute every one of you.